Megyn, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Megyn. Hey, Megyn. Oh, Megyn, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Megyn. Ho, 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 ho. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. That was from Tony Basil, a song back in the day, 70s, 80s, one of those, whatever, called Hey, Mickey. But since you see who's on the front, it's our girl, Megyn Kelly again, an attorney, a trained journalist, all kinds of stuff. And you know what? She just cannot help but be mean to black people. Or maybe she's just a mean girl to everybody. Who knows, right? But she has a huge following, I think 3 or 4 million people on YouTube and everything like that. But let's see. Hopefully they don't take this down from us. But let's see what Megyn Kelly... Now, if you remember, we did one last week or the week prior, last week about her talking badly about Obama. She's already talked badly about Diddy, calling him a monster. And all these other kinds of things. But let's hear, now for those of you who don't know, Jamele Hill is, or used to be, a key figure on ESPN. I used to watch her years ago. She's been going from them now for, I think, over 5 or 6 years, but she still has her own platform that she does. So, let's see what she had to say about one Charlie Kirk, and let's hear Megyn's reaction to it. So let's watch.
I do want to play Jamele Hill, speaking of so-called journalists who have it all wrong. Here's this jerk, Stop 15.
Of course, as you all know, in the wake of Charlie's murder, there was an incredible amount of angry discourse from the right, blaming the Democrats, blaming liberals, saying, you're the reason.
Oh, sorry.
Happened. Only to find out, surprise, 22-year-old white dude, love guns, raised by 2 parents, lived in a good home, dad is a minister, also a sheriff. Didn't check any of them boxes y'all thought he would check, did he?
Okay, first of all, a coat of mascara would be your friend. I'm just going to tell this to you, woman to woman on television. You need a little work, and you should have them back off the camera a little bit because you are not attractive enough to have that extreme close-up. Push away your laptop, Jamele, and add a filter or 2. Honestly, we actually don't use any on this show because I do put on makeup so I look presentable, but you need work because you can't both be ugly on the outside and the inside. You need to choose one, okay? Choose one. That is disgusting. That was absolutely disgusting. Fuck her. It's weird how she lost the points about him being a furry, loving, trans dating, I don't even know what this guy's fetishes were, but leftist ideology infected guy who wrote on his bullets anti-fascist catch and
all right. Enough of you. I show you these things because a lot of times a lot of other people won't watch it, and I get it. A lot of people probably even on this channel may not even know who Megyn Kelly is. Probably couldn't care less about who Megyn Kelly is. For the most part, I don't care who she is, right? Because, we'll never cross paths for the most part. So what I want you to do is, like I always try to do, is not just evoke emotion from people that watch what I present, but think and know what you're living around. Because I know a lot of times people say and think, it's hard to know that you lived in a country, that you've paid taxes, and Megyn Kelly and I are around the same age. I think she's 54. And this is the way that she consistently, and when I say it again, something else again, I'll bring it up, consistently talks and denigrates black people. Now, like I said before, nobody's going to come out and say, oh, look at this end, look at that, such. Regardless of how you feel about how Jamele Hill looks, whatever point she was making had nothing to do about her looks. She didn't say anything disrespectful about the guy at all. Same kind of thing with Jimmy Kimmel. And You heard what she said, because that's why I like to play it. Like I said, hopefully they won't copyright strike us and take it down. But I like to play this kind of stuff because whether other people see it or not, or care or not, and not just because she's a Republican, but because a lot of times, even as educated as she is, even as accomplished as she is, people will do anything to appeal to their base of people. And even with that I think short, and a short is basically something that's a couple minutes or less, has about almost 1 million views. And that's her own actual channel, Megyn Kelly, on YouTube. And it just goes to show you why, like I said, you would never, and once again, I always challenge people to show me or send it to me, but you would, I don't remember ever seeing a Democrat or seeing somebody that was black that was a Democrat get on somewhere and call somebody else ugly that's as accomplished as, I'm about to call her Megan Good, but she don't look as good, as Megyn Kelly is. When you get a chance to rewind it, just see what she said. Now, here we have Jamele Hill, who's an accomplished journalist, who's done it for 1 million years. She gets called a jerk. She gets, once again, because you know how much they always talk about free speech. So, but her freedom of speech has to be met with anger, aggression, and a tonnage, quite frankly, of violence. Isn't that crazy how people who appear to be on the radical right, whether it be militia or these groups like the Proud Boys or, the groupers like that are with Nick Fuentes, how these people always want to exact violence in some type of way. There's always some type of violence in some type of way, but everybody always wants to talk about how crazy and out of control black people are. And I know, because it's mostly black people that probably watch this, and shout out to anybody that watches this, white, black, Asian, whatever, because my thing is that I want to be responsible with what I say, and I'm going to be respectful of what I say. But this woman, like I said, an attorney who practiced law, I believe she said, for almost 10 years. Probably rich beyond belief. She got paid out, like I was saying, from NBC before to the Today Show because she stood up for somebody who tried to use blackface and couldn't understand why it was such an issue, but then came back and had to apologize. But show still wound up being canceled. She's been a Trump apologist for years that I've seen. Maybe she'll come out and be something different, but from what I've seen, and has just honestly, as a leader, as somebody who is a huge public figure, to talk as disparagingly as she just talked, to talk is out of control, because she'll always use words like grotesque and monster and all this other kind of stuff. To act like a monster, how she just acted as an accomplished woman versus another accomplished woman. Jamele Hill is not a walk in the park. She might not be an attorney, but she doesn't have to be. She was also famous for a very long time. But, what I kind of want to get through in the messaging here is just be aware. This is the way people talk. This is the way, racism and putting people down and talking whatever smack they talk. It's one of those deals where once upon a time, well, I'd say in the last 20 years, 25 years, people tried to keep it more covert. They didn't bring it up as much. They didn't talk about things as much. It was just, kind of, okay, we kind of understand it. But now it's coming out more and more. And it's you may not hear the N word or hear them use the N word, but they definitely use certain code words. How could you get up there and call another woman ugly? How could you get up there and call another accomplished journalist ugly because you don't agree with what she says? And then you go on. You need to put on some mascara. You need to do this. You need to do that. Sounds like more elitist, white, Republican banter. You see, and the reason why I want to point this out is because whatever job you're working at, whatever school you may go to, when you're giving your kids advice, your grandkids advice, whether you be white or black, but especially black, because this is obviously an attack on a person that's black. So people would say it's not racist. I don't see any other reason why. And that's why I paint these pictures. That's why I've done several on Megyn Kelly, because I want you to see a picture. I want you to see how people try to now hide their racism or their dislike for people. Like, we're going to get into one and do one again, because, you know, this one will be a little deeper. But the funny part about, to me, is a lot of our blood runs through each other. Remember slave masters? Didn't they have sex with a lot of those beautiful, big bosom, big bun black women? Didn't some of the slave masters, family members, wives, whoever, kids have sex with some of those big buck broke slave men? Because I don't think, and believe me, I love my last name, but I don't think that it was a name from any African tribe or another country or continent outside of, I guess, English. It would be considered English. Right? What about you? What's your name? You think your first and last name comes from, you know, another tribe somewhere? Now, some of us maybe, yes. But most of us blacks that are born and grew up here in America, everything we have is really a derivative of something that was taken. But, you know, we'll get into that another time. You know, that way I had to get my blood boiling. Because, you know, with Megyn Kelly, I mean, you know, you got these kind of people who they make a living out of it. But it's just to let you know that this is how crazy of a place you live in. How people, some people, you know, and that's why even me, I had to stop being as much of a nice guy. Because you know what happens? People will just keep taking and taking and taking until you have nothing left. And like I said before, that was an unsolicited, unwarranted attack on Jamele Hill. Because Megyn didn't like who Jamele was talking about. But how much do you want to take? Megyn Kelly, you're already a millionaire many times over. How much do you want to fuel the fans of hate? You know what? And as I think about stuff, you know, because if you know me outside of this, you know that I'm a pretty funny guy, I think, right? Or at least pretty, you know, upbeat and happy for the most part. But it does, because you know, you have to start worrying about your own kids. Because you already say to yourself, you know, by the time you're 35, 40, you know, you've lived half your life for the most part. And, you know, you want to solidify things. But you understand that your kids, your grandkids, and other people that you love that may be younger still have to grow up in this. And, you know, sometimes you grow up and there's no guidance to it. There's no roadmap to it. There's nothing to look out for. So unfortunately, when one of them who's qualified and credentialed gets declined for certain positions, they can understand it and they know how to move accordingly. See, that's what I'm trying to do here. That's why I want all of us to be aware of certain things. Yeah, we want to talk. We still want to have fun. We want to do things like that also. But we also want to and need to be aware of certain things. And we can't hide anymore because the Megyn Kellys of the world put it right in my face. So what are we going to do about it? It's time to stand up and do whatever we can do about it in a legal, nonviolent way. Remember that. So I don't want anybody saying, oh yeah, Greg was saying, go do something. No. Legal, good, cerebral, nonviolent way. But hey, as I tell Jake, I'm just one guy. What do I know? You know what I mean? But one thing I do know is that you better live life. Don't let life live you.